Waguri-san.
Nah, nope. It's too good. It is too... Listen, the absolute worst thing about KaoHana is that it's trying to convince me that people can be this genuine. Also, I'm pretty sure there should be an addiction warning attached to this show because there's no reason that I should be feeling this good emotionally. The level of dopamine I was receiving from this episode alone cannot be a legal dose. All seriousness, if you remember what I said about last week's ep, I mentioned how they utilized ambient noise for a lot of the emotional impact in place of music. This episode did that too and then said,
Guess what though? Green phone.
Look, this episode is on levels not reached by any slice of life anime before it. A place further than the universe is a close second. And yes, you heard me right. Second, this scene immediately stands out to me as one of my most eye-widening, jaw-dropping, bone-chilling scenes I have ever been able to witness. I might be gassing it, but to be honest, whoever said this shit needs to be objective. It's my video, go fuck yourself. From the beginning of the episode, the visual storytelling is already unmatched in comparison to like 98% of anime. Hyperbole, by the way, get over it. How she's acknowledging his anxiety, how she immediately is doing her best to relax him without showing us any internal dialogue. As a viewer, this sort of visual storytelling is so unbelievably satisfying. Legitimately, as a viewer, it is our job to catch these subtleties, and I imagine it's quite insulting if we miss them. All of these little tidbits that Kaoruko is going out of her way to do, and the animators are going out of their way to show us, so that this scene right here is that much more impactful when we make it there. If you're not paying attention to these little details, this scene doesn't fucking matter, because without the intricacies of the character details, you lose the majority of the emotional impact that goes into where Kaoruko's perspective is. Because everything that she has done for the whole show culminates here in this episode. If the last episode is about Subaru and Rintaro, this episode is completely and wholly about Kaoruko. To the point that I was fully convinced in the anime and when I was reading the manga a couple months ago that she was the main character of this story, and honestly, I'm still fairly convinced that she might just be the main character. Rintaro might be the everyman, but Kaoruko kind of low-key feels like the MC. Anybody else think that? And with all the character development this show manages to go through, I think Kaoruko has the most emotionally moving development by far. This shit-eating ass imp grin she showed us back in episode 2 had me wondering what the hell she was finna be cooking up. And by the time we got to this point, I was fully immersed in her perspective. It's probably more accurate to say I was fully convinced she deserved this more than anyone in the whole show. I do intend to explain that further in my reflection video, but to keep this short and sweet like her, Kaoruko is by far the character that spends the most time trying to be the most positive and uplifting piece of the series. So by the time we get her perspective, it's almost like we don't need it. But then we get her exposition and it's that much more emotionally moving with it. But by the time she starts expositing her backstory with the flashbacks, our faith is shaken and our perspective changed. The narrative we've had for Kaoruko is completely altered contextually speaking just from seeing her point of view. Every mannerism, character trait, interaction she has had now feels like that of a hero's journey. Running nowhere fast, building herself up with no success in sight, then the adventure hits and all of her efforts are now paying off, which only happened after many eccentric coincidences because her desire to get closer to Rintaro led her to keep pursuing it. Things finally fell into place and she earned what she wanted. And I feel the need to share this a little bit with people. There's a lot of stuff we are all trying to do, which can be fairly depressing for some of us, but also sometimes motivating, especially if you have a direction of what you're trying to accomplish. And that's something to be mindful of. Having a direction you want to go and knowing it's the path you want to take can be the literal difference maker between motivation and procrastination. Be present with how you feel. If something made you happy and you want to chase it a little longer, find any small way to make it a routine in your day. Doing that can make things fall into place, even if it takes longer than you want. Which means this is a friendly Nick check. Did you hit your vape today? I know that makes you happy, so of course I'm encouraging. Look, this was a literal theme for the final episode of the anime, so that's why I'm talking about it. But Kaoruko on a day that she's not feeling it. She didn't get dolled up, as she said, but she wanted to eat some cake. It was a secondary motivator for why she was even visiting the cake shop in the first place. There's a lot of motivational content that talks about stuff like this. How I'm gonna go to the gym for 20 minutes, even though they don't feel like it, then end up having a great workout and feel way better than they did if they hadn't gone. Kaoruko on a day that she was fully unprepared for what she was trying to get for literal months up to this this point, ended up having her dream come true. On the day that she was not ready to be made happy, she was. And she ran from it. Because like a lot of people, when they're about to get a better view of their dream, stop because things don't look how they want it. Do not cold turkey something just because it's not exactly how you want it to be. If you need to prioritize time elsewhere, do it, but don't close your doors because they may not open up as easily again. For Kaoruko, because she chose to be accountable, had a clear goal in mind, allowed her to reopen that door, even though accomplishing that goal now became theoretically harder because she slammed a literal door in the face of what she wanted. So for the metaphor, if you shut something off, it might not open up as easily again. Low-key need to take this advice myself, but I especially want you guys to hear it. Keep going.